I've learned a lot, and I've followed my passion.
It's Principles of Passion.
I have a dream.
With hosts Chris Thomas and Mickey Grace.
We really envision a world where all youth are inspired to find, define, and follow their passion.
This idea that we're going to be able to bring together so many creative thinkers, so many young people, and so many industry leaders.
In order to follow your dreams,
I have a dream today.
You have to put your passion first.
This week, Chris and Mickey welcome Vanessa Stokes, artist, curator, photographer, and owner of VS Creative Consulting LLC. She's manager of Special Area 72 in the Austin community, and she's co-president of the Austin Town Hall Park Advisory Council and chair of the Austin Town Hall Park Art and Culture Committee. And Jason Daniels, a youth development coach from UCAN, which serves and impacts over 21,000 at-risk children, youth, and families across Illinois. This is Principles of Passion. Let's get it, y'all.
All right. Thanks, y'all, for joining us. We appreciate it. It's been a lot going on here in Chicago. For those of you that may be in other states, I'm sure some of y'all have a lot going on with protesting. And that's the part I can stomach, the rioting part and the destroying of communities. I think there's two sides to it. I think when you destroy your own community, that's not called for. I think there's ways to handle it. We don't want to get into all of the philosophical, all of the everything about it. But I think what we do want to do is talk about the healing power of creativity, and really want to explain what I mean by creativity. And I want to hear what everyone else on this call, what they mean by creativity. But before we jump in too much, I want to give big ups to Mickey Grace, co-host. How are you, Mickey?
Hi, I'm doing good. We're so happy to be back with you, Jason and Vanessa. I know last week we had some technical difficulties, right? But that's what happens with technology and weather. So just want to give you all some thanks and some honor and some praise for being back with us today. And I'm super excited about having this conversation. So before we jump in, I just want to take a quick moment to introduce our guest. For those who are listening, welcome to Principles of Passion. Today we are having Vanessa Stokes. Vanessa is an artist, curator, photographer, proud owner of VS Consulting and artist management firm, where her main client is her father, the late Darrell Critney. Did I say that right? Darrell Critney?
It's Critney.
Thank you.
You're
Darrell
welcome.
Critney. Vanessa is involved in the Oak Park River Forest community and Austin community of Chicago, serving as the culture organizer and curator for public displays, as well as the co-president of the Austin Town Hall Culture Committee. So happy to have you, Vanessa. Vanessa is a photographer, and I've had a great conversation with her before and looking forward to doing this again. How you doing this morning, Vanessa?
I'm great.
Good.
For asking.
Thank you for being here. It's not morning. Look, it's afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving right along, we have Jason Daniels. Jason Daniels is a singer, songwriter, entrepreneur, and youth development coach at UCAN Chicago. Jason has been an inspiration to many youth and young adults across the city of Chicago, empowering them with the tools to succeed through Brotherhood Basketball Open Gym, the Visible Man Project, a mentoring program for young men, and so much more. Jason, we're so happy to have you. How you doing this afternoon?
I'm good. How y'all doing?
Pretty good. So since we got our guests out here, we know everybody know who everybody is. We just gonna jump right in. So we're gonna just jump right in. I'll ask our first question, Chris. Just Jason and Vanessa and Chris. Like how do you all define the healing power of creativity? When you hear that, right? What do you see? How do you define the healing power of creativity?
before we talk about the healing part, I think creativity can get misconstrued. Maybe people think of it as, oh, you have to be an artist, oh, you have to be a musician. When I think of creating in the world, I think that anytime I have communication with myself or with someone else to try and take action on something, that's creating, right? You're creating the possibility of something new. And so what I look at is integrity with that, and right, really what you say you're going to do, even if it's not great, but how do you get to greatness? And so when I look to that healing of creativity, and I know this is a little bit existential, but I really try and look at that connection with people, right? Really, what is, when I talk with someone, I say, I'm going to do this. Do I do that? Do I create with that person what I said I was going to create, right? Do I create with myself first and foremost what I said I was going to create? When I wake up in the morning, if I said I was going to work out at 6, do I work out at 6? If I said I was going to be at this meeting at 1, I'm at this meeting at 1. So I think really looking at how do I heal by showing up, by doing what I say I'm going to do, and being who I say I'm going to be.
Yeah, I think that that's interesting juxtaposition that you have there, y'all, because one thing I have really been thinking about lately is the difference between art and creativity, right? Like, who is an artist and who is a creative? Everybody's a creative, right? What does it mean? And when I think about that difference, I feel like, creativity for a lot of folks, and even boils down to problem solving, right? Like creating with purpose, getting a deep understanding of, right, the aspirations and motivations of those people that you're creating for. So I want to ask, you, Vanessa, as you think about like art, creativity, and the healing power of it all, what do you see, right? What does that mean to you?
Well, I was listening to what Chris was saying, and what showed up for me was, what is the definition of creativity? Like, what does that mean? So I just looked it up, and it says the use of imagination or original ideas, especially in the production of an artistic work. So if you just take that first part of the definition, right, the use of the imagination or original ideas, that's pretty much anything. Like, that's
Mhm.
anything that we create on this planet. So we're all creative, right? So I think that, when we start talking about artists, and those are just people who have decided to make creativity the way that we live. Like, that's pretty much, we've decided that that's the way we're going to live our lives. We're just going to live through that medium, whatever it is that we choose. But I think that for most people, and I've heard this a lot from people, and they say, "Well, I'm not creative," or da da da, da, they go into all of that, and it's like, you're a human being, right? Like, all human beings are creative. Like, that's just using our imagination and using it to create something, whatever that is. So I think that when we start talking about the healing power of it, I think it's just us realizing that we're all creative, and everything that we imagine, and all the things that, the ideas that come to us, and those things that we create out of, we create actions to create those things, right? That's just creativity.
Mhm.
So when we're going through the healing process, and that is really, what healing is for me, is like really getting in touch with what I'm dealing with, right? Right, really, really getting in touch with that, and that takes something, because most human beings, we avoid that. we don't want to deal with those things because it hurts too much or it's painful or whatever. But healing is just dealing with those things. It's just taking the time to deal with however the world is occurring for you. And so, one of the things that I do, being an artist, I write. I write a lot. You know, um, I take pictures.
Hmm.
I have conversations with people, and in those conversations, like Chris was saying, that's when you really start to like connect with people, and that's kind of when you start sharing and connecting with people. That is a way of healing. And so, and we, it's like we find that a lot of people, they don't want to share like what's vulnerable. They don't want to do all those things. Like, I don't want to do all that. I don't want people to know all those things. But that's how you really heal. You got to get it out. You got
Yeah.
to share it. You know. So, that's kind of what I know. I kind of went on and on, but that's kind of like what I see is a way, what is healing and creativity.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you said something pretty valuable there. I love James Baldwin said was, if I can tell you what it is like to suffer, perhaps I can help you suffer less. And maybe it'll work the other way around too, right? So that then I will be free. And I think that, as artists, I just wrote this here, like, for me, art is a form of expression. It's a way to get something out that I may not have the words to say. Um, so, I want to go to you as a singer, songwriter. When you think about, right, these two things, art, creativity, and healing, what does that mean, or what does that look like for you? How do you define this?
Um, well, for me, my art, so to speak, has always been my channel through whatever I was dealing with. Um, it's just a form of transferring the energy. So
Mm.
when I was hurt, I would take that energy and not sit on it. I would like reform it and turn it into a song or a rap, or and not just even more now that we're sitting still. I'm learning that I've been doing it in other ways as well. I've been doing it through my work. I've been doing it when I play basketball. Just learning how to conduct the negative energy or positive energy that's thrown at you, and learning how to process it in a healthy way. You know, most musicians actually suffer from some type of mental illness. If you look through the history of time, and the most gifted ones were the one that had the most trauma growing up. If you look at it, and that's no different from me. That's probably where I get my superpowers from, my ability to transfer and utilize and empathize my pain and articulate it in ways that others can actually feel it in the exact meaning in the way that I wanted you to feel it. I can give it to you like that. And that's where I think the difference between creation and artist happens. You become a master of it, therefore you become an artist. The creation just happens naturally. That's just innate in all of us, like Miss Vanessa said. But the artistry is you're doing it, like Chris said, every day when you don't want to, because you're trusting the process that something's going to come out of it. It might not make sense today, but after 6 more bars of me writing this song, it might all come together. But today I just needed this to get this line out because I was feeling like crap.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a process. And the more we get used to processing it, I guess that's where the artistry is born out of it.
Yeah. I can agree with all of you. I think, when I graduated from college, and it's not a story that other people haven't heard, But when I graduated from college, it was the first time I ever started to have anxiety bad. I had never had anxiety before, I promise. Um, and I was having anxiety really bad. One day, old professor mom like, maybe you should try journaling. And I was like, okay. So I tried journaling, and then one day I was like, damn, I'm kind of good at this. This writing is actually pretty good. And it got to the point where, I was using my blog as a space to explore my own healing. But I started to recognize how other people who were reading my blog could relate to this stuff. They could relate to this stuff, and I felt that in a weird way we were dealing with things together. We were working through things. So I want to know, like, as you all hear my story, and Chris, I was here as you all hear my story about the way. And let me say this now: I am by no means healed from anxiety and depression. Right? I live with that, and I recognize creativity is a healing space for me. I have to constantly be in a creative motion to feel balanced. Um, so I want to know from you all, as you hear my story, what are some like, if you feel comfortable, tell us about a time where you feel like creativity has healed you in your personal life.
I could
Say it
go.
one more time. When what's healed us in our personal life?
Where art or creativity has healed you in your personal life.
Go ahead, Vanessa.
Well, one of the other things that I do is write, right? And so I'm writing an article for Austin Talks right now, and it is my journey running. So I'm a runner, and I'm running the marathon this year. That if we have a marathon, I will be running in it. And so, and that's huge, right? Like, how many people do you know that have run 26 miles, right? And so I have been like battling with the fact that I'm running these miles, and I'm going to take this on. And so it's not the easiest thing to like look at. It's like I put myself in this position, right? And I keep on going back and forth with it, like, oh, I'm gonna do it, oh, and I'm not gonna do it. It's too hard. I got to get up in the morning and do, like, this constant back and forth. And just like what Jason said, Jason said this thing. He said um, that it's like the practice of doing something, right? It's like practicing and doing that over and over and over again and becoming a master at it. So what I started to do was write every day. So for the last 2 months, like maybe 7 weeks, I've been writing every day. Every day I get up in the morning, and every day right before I go to bed, I write. And so this has helped me to really look at this journey that I'm on, this running journey. And it also, by having this practice of doing this twice a day, it's also entered other areas of my life. So now I'm like really in integrity, like Chris said, like really in integrity in my life. So now that I'm writing twice a day, now I'm making sure that my calendar is set and all these other things are set. So it like when I focus on something that really helps to heal me, or to help me create whatever it is that I'm creating, and using art as the medium, it like it's like magic. That's the way I look at it. It's like it magically goes into all these other parts of my life that help to enhance what it is that I'm doing. Um, And so, so now now that everything has happened in the community, and most of the work that I do is on the West Side in Austin. And I haven't really been taking pictures because I haven't really been into it. But I was like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to like take pictures. So that's what I've been doing. I went out last Tuesday and I took some pictures, and I'm gonna start going out every week and just doing like some walks in the community um and talking to people and just start that kind of work too. So I'm seeing how like I can just from that practice, right? Just from practicing writing every day, like really getting in touch with whatever is there, how the world is occurring for me. Now I see other actions I could take to continue, just the creative artistry that I do.
I'm reading this book right now. It's called I can't remember what it's called exactly because I will pick up a book and start reading it and forget what the title is called. But it's something like "You Are a Badass" or something like that. You all may have heard about it before. And in this book, it talks a little bit about if you just get one habit, like if you just get one habit, that one habit or practice will evolve and change other areas of your life. And I love how, as people we can think our habits need to be like, I need to get up every day and be at 6 a.m. Like these oppressive habits that we give ourselves instead of allowing ourselves the freedom to do things artistically, that we enjoy, and encourage the healing that we need in our life. And I want to talk to both you and Jason about this because I know like both of you all work in the city. And as we think about like creativity, art, healing in the city of Chicago, in neighborhoods like Austin, like Lawndale, right, like Garfield Park. Where do you see art and creativity fitting in that space? Like I know Jason, you work at UCAN, you work with youth. So do you see art and creativity? In what ways do you see art and creativity permeating throughout the youth, and in what ways do you see them being healed from art and
Um, well, the hip hop is actually one of the main go-to avenues right now when it comes to the youth expression. I've seen an increase in a lot of poetry lately as well. Um, the youth are going to gravitate to the things that being successful in their eyes. So right now, a lot of them are they are aspiring rappers, but they are sounding like whatever they see as successful. So it's a lot of youth that have their own voice, but it's getting crowded because they are trying to conform to what they think everybody else wants to hear. So it's kind of gets drowned out in the same type of vibe and message. But if you listen closely, beyond the sameness, a lot of them have unique ideas and outlooks. Um, there's a couple of young rappers that's coming up in North Lawndale that I know personally, and they're trying to do different things with their music, but within that same realm. But um, it, it's just a culture thing. People thought when I was coming up, the way that we was rapping or our music wasn't socially acceptable, but it's what they see, and it's how they dealing with it. And we should be more empathetic to the message. I know a lot of the noise and stuff tunes a lot of the older people out, but historically as a people, this is how our history was told orally. And we supposed to be trying to translate and understand for each other. And I think this is why the generation gap is happening so much, because of we're speaking so many different languages and so many different aspects of life. And it's causing a great separation that it makes no sense that a mother can't understand a teenager son when he's talking to his friends, because we are just disassociated, and it's our adultism. It has a lot to do with it, but we kind of just forgot about our teenagers during this process. A lot of them are forced out to the streets because the resources not in the house, and they wasn't allocated for them to be home this time of day. They got younger brothers and sisters, and so right now the message is anger. It's like, I don't have nowhere to go. You telling me this shelter in place? I can't shelter in place because it's only 2 hot dogs left for my little brother and sister. So it's the message right now on the streets is, man, F everything. You know, that's like, cause they don't feel associated to nothing. So when all of this stuff kicked off, it was just a big boiling pot waiting to spill over the pot.
Yeah, that's awesome. You say that too about the resources, right? And when you look at some of these young adults that are coming up, and you look at the education system right now, we got one of 2 ways. We could keep trying to fix it the way that we've been trying to fix it, or we have an opportunity where there's a door open, where there's a gap, and there's a need to virtually connect and really engage with some of these young adults. And that's really what a big part of our program is too, at Your Passion First. And, you know, that's how we connected, Jason. We actually have 2 of your young adults that, you know, I think from the past, but Marcus is in our program, Marcus Allen. He's doing it, right? Right. And then do you remember Keyshawn Owen?
Yeah.
So they're doing some amazing things, especially just being able to transform and change into something different, more than just the music, more than just the clothes, right? More than just the lifestyle, but what is that lifestyle for you, right? Whether it be waking up at 6 a.m. or some of them wake up at 12. They're up all night creating on their own, right? And they go to bed at 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning. They're creating though. And so I think to all the points, I think it's about understanding. But what I would ask, in sake of looking at the education system, and let me just pull this question up.
Hey, Chris, you breaking up. You breaking up.
Important right now of how we doing? We got a lot. So like, oh, test.
Hey, so look.
The camera don't like me.
Right. Hey, look though, Chris. I wanted to add something before we moved on to the next question, because I think what Jason is mentioning about like our young people, our youth and young adults, and their knack for music, their knack for dance, their knack for all of these different things is so important. So I'm a designer, right? I'm a designer, so I think from a creative lens, right? And when I'm thinking about designing, I'm thinking about like, what are the deep motivations and desires of the people that I'm creating for, right? And that's what I feel the difference is between art and creativity, for example, right? Like, art is about me. Art is about me. Art is about, let me express what it is I'm going through however I can, because I need to get this out. And if it reaches somebody and they can relate to it, great. You know, creativity, on the other hand, is about, let me get an in-depth understanding of the needs, desires, motivations, sorrows of a people, and try to come up with a creative solution, a creative action, of some sort. And you mentioned, Jason, like we need to be more empathetic to our youth and young adults in their art. And what I really think that boils down to is we need to better not even better, we need to just start interpreting their art, ask them questions about it, because I think a lot of the solutions is in the music. Right, a lot of the solutions are in the music. Like, for example, I'm not sure if you all are familiar with Saba Pivot, but he's from the west side of Chicago. And in his lyrics, he say, like, and I'm from the part of the city that they don't be talking about. And then he says, like, Austin division, ironic that that's the divide below the poverty line, right? The solutions are in the music. And I think, we wait until a young artist has passed, or when they have passed away, or their music career is over, to really start to interpret what it is they're trying to say. So I think you're so right in the sense we need to be more empathetic to the art, to the art of the youth. And in addition to that, we need to start teaching our young people, and this gets into creative education. I really think your question, teaching our young people how to interpret art. Cause I've been to, it wasn't until maybe like I went to the Hyde Park Art Center, and I was there with a Black woman who had curated a space, and she was kind of just teaching us how to look at the art, how to look at the art and how to understand the art and pull things from the art. So I definitely wanted to uplift that. And if any of you have anything to add, I don't necessarily have a question, but if any of you have anything to add just based off hearing that, I would love to hear your thoughts.
I'd like to say,
Please, we'll go
go ahead.
Vanessa, then we'll go Jason.
so so the first thing that came to my mind once I saw this uh, question is, how do we interpret art? I guess it goes, for me, it goes to like, so what comes first, like life, like living, or art, And so, like, I'm glad you mentioned Saba. I love
Me
Saba,
too.
And I think that especially for like people my age, like, like older people like in their 40s who really don't, they go to the sound, we really don't get young people, and to really stop and just first of all reflect. Like the first thing, like reflect on your own life. Like when I was a teenager, my mom and dad said the same thing, right? They're like, we don't get you, we don't understand you, what you're wearing, and all the rest of that. But I think that we need, as people, to figure out ways to bridge the gap between older folks and younger people, like really have an intergenerational conversation. And that was one of the first points I wanted to bring up, because I listen to everything, right? I listen to everything. I, and I'm almost 50 years old, and a lot of people my own age, they don't, they get into this like, oh, look at these young people with their pants hanging down and all this and that and the other, and I'm just like, can we get off of that? Can we get off of that and like have a dialogue with this young person?
Can we get
Talk
curious?
to them.
Can we get curious?
Yeah, like, can we get curious and interested in what they're going through as people? Like, I want to know what your day looks like. I want to know what it looks like for you in your day, you know? But I had to stop too, and really stop judging, because it's easy to do that. It's easy to judge. It's easy to look at somebody and say, oh, look at that, you know. But it's a little bit more complicated to have that kind of in-depth conversation, like you're saying, just getting curious about what people are up to. And so I wanted to put that out there, because I think that's something that we can do now.
Yeah.
Like I do with my kids, like I do it with my children. I have 2 children, and I sit and we have conversation. And some of the stuff they say to me is wild. Like, I would not be able to have that kind of conversation with my mom. Okay, my mom would look at me like I'm like crazy, like saying the stuff that they say to me. But I don't want to judge them, and they're people. They're people. They're just little people. So I just say, okay, well, I'll tell them little things like, that kind of language probably not a good idea around grandma. You know, it's not a good idea to have that kind of language around your auntie. You know, but around me, they're like, but you, mom, we can talk, we can be free. And I think for a lot of parents, that's something that we need to do is like let our children be free and let them speak from wherever they are speaking from, right? And
Yeah.
then as educator, Jason, I'm sure that would, how would that be? I'm really interested in how that would be for you as an educator if parents would have a certain type of dialogue with their children, where they allow them, because like Black people, we don't do that. And it drives me crazy. We
Box
put boxes
conformity.
around people, right? And it's like, you're not supposed to talk like that. You're not supposed to wear them clothes like that. You're not supposed to wear your hair like that. You're putting all these people in boxes. And then these children go out in the world and they're confused. They're like, there's so many things going on. And I mean, I'm just interested in being an educator. Like, what is that like? Like, what is that like to see these kids and they come in your classroom, right? And they're like, my mama don't even pay any attention to me.
Mm.
Try not to go in today. I'm trying to be cool. There's a lot. All right, so I actually taught at our You Can Therapeutic School, the academy, and I had this one particular student. He would come in about half day, about 12 o'clock, and he would come in rapping and would not stop rapping for a whole hour. Like some days he would stand up on the chairs and would not stop rapping until he got his rap out. Like, I'm coming in to disrupt. Everybody else in this school kind of despised this young man, and I was one of the few. There was a couple of other males in the building that kind of like took a hold of him. I stayed in contact with this young man throughout his years. He suffered from several traumatic experiences, and they medicated him out of this world. He was on like 7 different medications. But because I knew how to translate his pain, I was able to reach him when nobody else was able to talk to him. And to this day, I'm not going to say his name. He's a well-known rapper in Chicago. Well-known. And he's a grown man now. And he reached out to me right when this pandemic happened. And he was like, man, you was telling me things I couldn't understand when I was 15. But now I'm a man, I get it. So I said all this to tell y'all, like, they might not be listening to you today, but just spending time with that young man and probably saved his life. The summers I gave him, and we didn't have a long time together. We spent three summers together and 1 school year together. And I spent 3 more summers after that, after I left the school, mentoring him. And just that time that I gave him was able to mold him in that. So just imagine if I had him around me, since I had, like, you talk about Marcus, Chris, I've had Marcus under my wing as my little brother since he's in 5th grade. Now that man's 22 years old. And you can tell, right? He moved differently, right? He think differently. But he in North Lawndale. But if you look at Marcus and you just judge Marcus on his appearance, you'll think he another corner boy. But he ain't thinking like that. We don't take time to even crack into these kids' lives to let alone plant seeds in them. We just talk about them. We talk at them. We direct them, but we never just sit down and just check in with them and see, man, how you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That go a long way.
Yeah. It does. It definitely goes a long way. I think about I spent some time coaching artists, young artists, and I coach a young woman. She's a dope R&B singer in Chicago, 18, and in our coaching sessions, you know, I'm like, you know, what do you see as the value of this? And she's like, you know, I never had the time to like really think about myself like this. You know, I never really got the time to really think about how I think. And you know, I think that it's because you are so right. There are in so many instances where instead of us as adults and us as coaches and mentors being curious about the way these young people think, we try to tell them how to think, or tell them what to think. And in a lot of ways, you know, we suppress them of that freedom that we hope to give them and oppress them of that voice. And you said something, Jason, that I'm interested in, especially during this time, during this Black Lives Matter time. You said this young man came in to disrupt. And for the longest, I have been saying to myself that art is a form of protest. Art is a form of protest. Yeah, hell yeah, he came in to disrupt because he's an artist, right? And artists are about change, you know. So I want to, you know, just get your thoughts, get all of your thoughts on what is a few things you can really answer whichever question. So have you all seen the art, the Black Lives Matter art in the streets? Like people are now putting like the names of people that, and I think this is more on the organizer side, they're now putting the names of people who have been murdered by the police, and there's like this controversy around that. Some people are like, this is performative. You know, this has no place. And some people are like, we need this, right? This is important. This is a statement. And I'm kind of just in a place where I'm trying to understand if art is a form of protest and creativity is a form of protest, what is the role of this? Jason, you got something, go ahead.
Art is the initiation of the conversation. So those people that are opposing it, those people that are for it, they are both having a conversation together that normally wouldn't happen. So that's what art does. It brings people from opposition sides to both validate their points and have those conversations. And art is the medium, so it softens the blow because now we can put all our energy into the object of whatever the art is. And we can both come at it in a way where the art can take the blows of it and we don't end up fighting each other because we got something that's objective that we're both talking about. So as long as the artist, and my thing is, I'm hoping that a revival comes out of this. It's long overdue. It was one popping off early 2000s when I was being an artist, but they cut me and a lot of other CEOs off at the head. We were the first movement of the independent. I turned away at least 17 deals I turned down to stay independent. And because when I was trying to go into the machine, they didn't want me talking about positivity things. That's why I partnered with You Can. That's why I'm working with them. I could easily put out 10 albums. I'm sitting on 5 right now and been a big star. But I know what hip hop is the true meaning for. So I'm a pioneer and I try to get others to bring forth the meaning back of it. Hip hop is the expression of the culture, and it's the temperature of the culture. And right now the temperature is hot. So we're getting a lot of heat, and hopefully we can start coming with some solutions in our art. Now that we're at a point where everybody is paying attention to it, we can all start focusing on, all right, this is the problem. We know about it. Everybody's agreed that this is the problem. Now we can actually start getting to the healing and the solutions of these problems that's been perpetrating us for so long and being underlined and not talked about. It's been taboo, you know, and now it's in everybody's face. You can't run from it everywhere you look. Now let's start talking about the solutions and the healing for it. And that starts with the youth.
I'm hesitant to say anything, y'all. I'm like, is it gonna play around with me again? I don't know. Thank you, Jason. It's just good sitting back hearing y'all, man, just listening, because I'm hearing it from a point where I don't have to say anything. I'm letting Mickey run and making sure technology still keeps us going and blesses us a little bit longer. You know, one thing I really look at is the creativity piece, right? And the healing piece and the process, right? We don't talk about that enough because we're always trying to get to the destination. But that journey, and that's not easy, to be habitual about things every single day, day in and day out. And so what are some habits that you've built over your time that you would say are foundational, that you would want to tell some of these young kids about, that are just good basic habits that they could build into their daily routine?
The journaling is one of the most mirroring things that you can do for yourself, because when you journal daily, your mood changes daily, your thought process is different, and then you can start identifying cycles and patterns that you don't necessarily see when trauma or triggers or anything abnormal that you feel like is causing you either to be positive or negative, and then you can add or subtract whatever you need. I don't journal. What I do is I freestyle every day. So I play a beat and I don't care what time of day it is. I just make sure I get a freestyle a day out. And that's my form of journaling, because I've been at this for so long, I don't even have to write songs no more. I freestyle albums. So I'm at a point now of my mastery where I can, long as I get a freestyle in, it's like, okay, I got that out. Find somewhere to have a candid conversation about how you feel, what's going on with you, and it be in a space where you're not judged. Some place where you can be vulnerable and be you and be open and honest with yourself, and then that person can give you that same energy back. Those type of things get you through the times that we deal with. Without self check-ins and having solid, strong connections, and if you don't have those solid, strong connections, try to form them with somebody that you deem is trustworthy. Those are some things as well. And trying something new that you've never tried before. Trying something new that you've never tried before. It gives you resiliency and unlocks your potential, and it pushes you further than you would realize, further than you would normally go. Being out your comfort zone is an accomplishment alone. And just trying something, even if you fail at it, just trying something gives you a win for the day. So
I love that. I love that. The one thing I like that you said, the first one, a plan or a journal. One thing I have the kids doing is just a weekly action plan, right? Which is kind of their journal. Is what are you doing for the week? How are you setting goals? How are you setting expectations? And how are you talking through, not just focused on your weekly, right? But what's your passion? What are you delivering? What's your next project? And how are you taking note of that every week? And that journaling, I think, allows people to the opportunity to go and have those conversations more fluidly with others. I know there's some kids in the program that are lacking, the proper communication skills. And so how do you write out those thoughts better so that you can express yourself better, express your narrative and your story better to those that you interact with? So I appreciate that one. Thank you.
Can I just add one thing to Jason? What you said. I love your list. That list was great. And um, I just wanted to add one thing to it. And that's something that I do that I see that is really helped me to just stay on track. And that is find some sort of physical action. It could be like playing basketball, running, working out, some sort of exercise, because in order for us to do the work that we're doing, we have to continue to maintain our health. And I think that exercise not only helps our body, but it helps our mind. And so that helps me a lot. I mean, with everything that I do, especially I have anxiety a lot. So, getting a run in or doing some push-ups or whatever, it helps me to just maintain the course. So I just wanted to add that.
So a few things that I would add. Give yourself permission to change your routine. Give yourself permission to change your routine. For the longest, I used to be a night owl, and I still say that to this day. I think I'm trying to force myself to be a night owl now. That I'm not a night owl anymore, and I need to just accept it and start getting up in the morning because I'm more clear in the morning. So give yourself permission to change your routine. I would say try different mediums. If you're experiencing a creative block in a medium that you consider to be your primary, pick something else up and just try it and see what happens. Give yourself 5, 10, 20 minutes of free form creativity. Free form creativity. Like, I know me as an artist creator, I can put a lot of pressure on myself. Like, to be honest with you all, it's sometimes where I put so much pressure on myself that I will sit down at my computer and start to feel physically sick because of the pressure that I'm putting on myself to create something perfect, right? So give yourself permission to do some free form creativity. It don't matter what it is, some no pressure creativity. And then 2 more things. So recently I'm creating a list. I'm not there yet, but I'm creating a list of 100 life-giving activities. 100 life-giving activities, things that just like make me feel better. Some things on my list is like talking to my sister, listening to music, riding a bike, things like that, so that when you're feeling low vibrations as a creative, you can go to that list and pull from it, and do some things that help to bring your vibrations up. Last but not least, I wanted to give a quick tip on what you can use to interpret art and creativity. So for me, I use the ORID method. ORID. It's a method for focused conversations, and a lot of times I feel like we're actually in conversation with the art. So O stands for objective, and that just means like, what do I see, right? What can I touch? What can I hear? Like, you're really just trying to get a sense of what's there. And then once you got those objective things, you move on to R. ORID. ORID. You move on to R. R is reflective. Okay, what does this remind me of? What does this remind me of? And I is really where you boil down to the meaning. I means interpret. Objective, reflective, interpret. What is this trying to say? Right? What is this trying to say? What does this mean? And then last but not least is decision. You just decide. You decide that it means this. Objective, reflective, interpretive, decisional. And I think that is a great way to not only be in conversation with art, but also to have conversations with dope people like Jason and Vanessa and Chris. You can come up with questions to have conversations with other people. So yeah, that I also wanted to name Chris just before we jump off, and Jason and Vanessa, if you all have anything too, I would love to uplift this here. I also just want to uplift some like spaces where you can go to enhance your creativity, your passion first. One, of course, Young Chicago Authors. They're in the city of Chicago. I love them. They're super dope. MC School, the MC School, they're really dope. Also, the Let Us Breathe Collective, they organized in the city of Chicago from a creative lens. Also, you can look at Hyde Park Arts Museum. I want to uplift some really like dope rappers and young rappers, young hip hop artists and singers. Coda the Friend, he's from New York. He be killing them. Saba Pivot, of course, and Christian Jelon. So just some folks that I want to uplift. Any resources, Jason, Vanessa, Chris, that you all have that we can kind of uplift on this call?
I could go.
Go ahead.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good for now, Mick. You know, I would just say thank y'all for coming on. We really appreciate y'all. You know, moving forward, a lot of progress. We want to make sure there's collaboration amongst the youth, amongst your teams, amongst what y'all organizations are doing, as well as just how we can help you all as organizations connect with anything that you need within the community. I think that's our biggest goal, is to be a community connector for young adults. You guys have been in the space for a long time, so I appreciate the opportunity just to run alongside with y'all and partner with y'all in whatever way that can help the community. So thank you.
Hey, Vanessa, I thought you have three. You could share.
Yeah, so I'm on the west side, and there's a lot of different resources. I would say to check in with Austin Coming Together. They have a their website, and you can see all the different organizations they partner with. Also, I manage a special service area in Austin. There's only one area in Austin that's a special service area, and that basically means it's a business district where we really focus on the businesses in that corridor. And so the service provider for SSA 72 is Westside Health Authority, and they do a lot of work in the community. They have the Good Neighbor campaign, which is it's like a grassroots campaign that they do in the community, and they have a bunch of different resources for young people. Also, I just wanted to mention your ORID. Thank you for saying that. Like ORID is like I used to facilitate using that method, and it's great. So thank you for bringing that up. And I just wanted to also share one last thing. And as a creative and as an artist, one of the things that I do a lot, and I'm beginning to notice it, is really make myself wrong about whatever it is that I'm working on, or you know just whatever, like whatever shows up for me. And once I started to see that I would make myself wrong for things, um, I also started to notice that I wasn't. So, I'm saying this to creative people, whatever you're up to, whatever you're doing out there in whatever medium, just continue to do it. And when that shows up, really just look at it and pay attention to that. And just like what Jason said, when you continue to do that, you continue to have those practices that you do, those practices that you do, it makes you more aware of how you're being, you know. And everybody is being the way that they be, and that's it. And there's nothing wrong with it. So don't make yourself wrong. And that's it for me. Thank you, Mickey, and thank you, Chris, and thank you,
Thank
Jason.
Jason, any last resources or things that you want to uplift?
Yeah, you can Chicago.org. We have several programs in North Lawndale as well as throughout the city. You can Chicago.org. Go on there and just continue to uplift our children, spend time with them, check in with them. Our youth is our future. Just continue to be beacons of light, be positive beacons of light. And thank you guys for your time.
Yes, thank you all for having us. Today was an off day. I know it's Monday. We usually do Principles of Passion live on Facebook and YouTube every Thursday. So stay in tune with us. And Jason and Vanessa, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks so much for connecting with us today.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
Of course.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
We appreciate y'all. That's all we got. All right. Y'all have a good one. Principles of Passion, Season 3, Episode 3. We really are appreciative of Vanessa and Jason jumping on. That was huge of them. We'll continue to work to get better, right? Not just for us, for the community, and for the sake of some of the young adults out there that are looking for safe spaces, safe creative spaces. So again, we appreciate y'all, and we'll see y'all on Thursday. Talk to y'all soon.